Now I want to walk through the mastering process, so let's go, really doesn't matter which robot, but let's just go over to robot um, 1 here, I guess. We'll use that guy just as an example. Or the guns on 1. Let's just use robot 2. So now, before you get there, the guns are going to have to be off, and hopefully the robot's stripped. And go to robot 2 here. You're going to go through and you're going to get the wrist into its back on in its right position. And you are where you are. Like I said, you're pretty much probably going to have to deal with that thing being on an angle. So just be careful about those drive shafts coming out. And when you look at the mastering marks, you'll be able to see how they go together. Now, just a couple things to recall. We talked about the different positions of the mastering of the 2 robots. They're going to have 2 different mastering angles. So if you look at, for example, the in the guidelines here, you got to look at your angles of your robots to figure that out. See, in this case, robots can be configured differently. Are they in the left side of the conveyor, right side, and then what is the inner arm offset? So, for example, if you were to look at robot 1, which is this guy right here, if you were to look at him from the back, you'd see that this inner arm here is offset to the right. So it's on the left side of the conveyor, inner arm offset to the right. So it's going to be these values. Negative 45, 45, negative 90, 180 for joint 4. Robot 2, when you see it, it's going to be right. It's going to be right side of the conveyor, left offset. So it's going to be negative 45, 45, negative 90, and all zeros on the wrist. In terms of the mastering marks themselves, the manual shows pretty good. Robot, yeah, in terms of the wrist, the turret axis, if you zoom in on these things, you'll see there's a mark on both the base and on the turret, and there's a couple of them, but you'll see when they get lined up is basically where you need to be. And yeah, this picture shows it the best. So there's a mastering bus on the pedestal and then one on the turret. And when those 2 get aligned, that's where you need to master them. If you look at the wrist, these pictures are pretty good here. You'll have, I'm sorry, this is joint 2 and 3. So you'll see axis 2, same type of a thing, 2 machine surfaces, axis 3. You'll be able to see those on the actual robot. The wrist is a little less perfect. They have these pins that you got to line the machine face on the wrist with the pin on the wrist, so it's that one's less perfect. What I'd suggest you do is before you take the wrist off, just take a picture of the current positions and look at that. Put these programs in here. This is Master 2 Fix, and what you're going to do, what they have in them are 5 points. First one is just the home position. The second one is going to be a mastering position for if you had to do the joints 1 through 3. You shouldn't have to mess with those because we're just changing the wrist. And then you have a master position for 4 to 6. This is the ideal master position. And then the last 2 points are, I'll call it the mastering position that's going to get you back to the messed up values for the wrist that are on there. Because the wrists, all the axes aren't mastered quite accurately. So before you take the wrist off, I'd suggest taking a picture if you want, just for a reference of the current misalignment, if you will, at the mastering position, if you want, and then there'll just be a check for you after it goes back on. But anyway, so if you go to this program here, let's just move through it. It's good to put step mode on so it doesn't go all over the place. So push the step button, and you go